Welcome to this edition of In-Depth Alaska. I'm Tracy Sinclair. As we get ready for the April municipal election here in Anchorage, we wanted to spend some time with the school board candidates. First up, the candidates for Seat G. Carl Jacobs is the incumbent for this seat.
I'm Ariane Aaron-Bureau with Alaska's News Source, and we are talking to the candidates, of course, running for the Anchorage School Board. And here with me is Carl Jacobs running for Seat G. Carl, thanks for being with us here today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Great to be here.
Well, first, before we get started, just give us a quick little introduction about yourself, who you are.
Sure, yeah. So again, my name is Carl Jacobs. I'm running for Seat G on the Anchorage School Board in our upcoming April 2nd municipal election. I am a parent to 4 students in the district at present. I have spent my career serving vulnerable seniors and children in the state of Alaska. My wife Alicia and I are also licensed therapeutic foster parents and have served roughly 60 at-risk youth who suffer from behavior and mental health challenges. And so it's provided me a unique experience and perspective to identify strengths that the district has, ways that it can improve, and really effectuate those while harnessing public input and improving things from a policy and governance perspective. I'm choosing to run for re-election to the school board to continue my mission of bringing positive change to ASD. I think that happens through implementing common sense and student-focused governance, supporting our families and our educators, ensuring that our laser focus is improving the main goals of the district, which include college, career, and life readiness, and then reading and math proficiency. And so I'm proud to have implemented a number of policies over the last few years which further those goals, which include implementing ASD's first anti-bullying hotline, implementing financial literacy coursework as a graduation requirement for the first time in ASD, and then overhauling our student nutrition policy, which provided all students a chance to have a guaranteed time for meals in the district as well. And so I want to continue that work and am honored to have the opportunity to do that.
And you already kind of touched on my first question, which is why are you running for the school board? So is there anything else you want to elaborate on with that?
Sure, yeah. I think local government's important, and the leaders that we have and the governance of a district can provide a sense of stability and thorough community engagement. I think that our school board needs to ensure that we're constantly reviewing the lens of our parents, that we're serving and our students that we're serving, and asking the question, are we being accountable? Are we being transparent? Are we being accessible? I'm proud to say that one of the first policies I passed required school board members to engage in community council meetings and put a threshold on attendance for those meetings. And if board members failed to attend those meetings, there would be consequences in terms of running for leadership positions within the board. And then we prioritize student and parent testimony at the start of meetings to ensure that we heard from stakeholders directly that were affected by the policy changes that were implemented by the board and our frontline customers. And so really putting a voice to the customers that the district has and making sure that we're following through and acting as conduits for that public opinion and serving our constituents well.
What would you want to change about the school board and the direction of the Anchorage School District?
I'm proud of the fact that we're focused on reading, math proficiency, and college, career, and life readiness. When we talk about implementing financial literacy as a graduation requirement, when we talk about ensuring that consumer and family sciences are what some families like myself know as home ec, bringing that back into our middle schools next year, talking about our career academies of Anchorage, which is really exciting and a chance for students to learn life skills and transition directly to careers that don't have to include a college degree if they so choose, and keeping our workforce here and ensure that we, to the extent that we can, we reverse that trend of out-migration that Alaska's experienced for over a decade. It's important that the board facilitates those overall goals and do our part to ensure that the Alaska that we have for our next generation is one that they want to stay in. And I think that starts by providing them a quality education and opportunities for all students.
In many places across the country, books are being banned from school libraries. Do you think books should be banned from school libraries? And how do you balance that with the right for diversity and equality?
Sure. This was one of the issues that the board tackled fairly early on after I joined in 2021. We passed a policy that has since been kind of a landmark policy that's been used by other districts, both inside Alaska and outside, which prioritizes letting the subject matter experts, which includes librarians, parents, administrators, to convene through a committee process and review any concerns that the community has. And then decisions are made as concerns are raised. The process was overseen by current Dean Commissioner Dina Bishop, and so that policy overhaul took effect. I think that our students deserve access to libraries, which are places where they can safely learn and explore academic and personal freedom. I think our current policy works, and I'm proud of the fact that we have parent engagement while allowing the district to use our expert voices through our librarians to help shape our libraries and provide students that opportunity.
In light of the rapid growth of homeschooling in the state, as well as the governor's push to increase the number of charter schools statewide, what new benefits and challenges do public schools face?
So charter schools are public schools. Public schools in Alaska have the option of pursuing, and parents and families engaged in public schools have the option of pursuing a charter program. We have a number of charter programs that are wildly successful here in Anchorage based on some recent data that was published through a university study that was performed on the East Coast of national charter data. With that said, there are hurdles to in terms of accessibility for students. Right now, our charter programs don't offer transportation or meal service, and so there are gaps in equity of access there. That's something that I'd like to address in my second term, is ensuring all families can access those programs, and then carefully evaluating to see how we can expand those opportunities. More broadly speaking, though, our charter schools suffer from the same challenges that districts across the state, including ASD, are struggling with, which frankly, is a lack of funding and a lack of dependable funding that districts can count on and plan on. The UAA, Institute of Social and Economic Research, published a landmark study here in 2022, I believe, which indicated that Alaska now funds below the national average for our system of public education at the state level. And so we need to address those challenges, which will benefit all schools, both charter optional programs as well as our brick and mortar neighborhood programs.
Politics in general has become increasingly polarized. How would you deal with that at the school board level?
For better or for worse, that's that the allocation for public education dollars happens through a political process in Juneau, through the Alaska legislature and through approval of the governor. That means that while our races at the school board level are nonpartisan, we have to have a really great working relationship with politicians of all stripes. And so I'm proud to say that I have a great working relationship with the Anchorage delegation. Those are the Anchorage legislators that represent a constituents from Girdwood out to Chugiak. I've even had the privilege of being endorsed by the majority of those members of the Anchorage delegation, a majority of the Anchorage Assembly as well. And so I'm proud to say that I have that great working relationship. I think it's one of the big pieces that the board has to engage in, is advocacy and educating our lawmakers, because decisions that are made at the state and local level have an impact on our students and families. And so engaging in that work is critical. And I'm proud to say that I have those great working relationships. I'm looking forward to leveraging those to benefit our students over my next 3 years.
And our last question, Carl, the school board passed a $680 million operational budget that is dependent on the governor signing Senate Bill 140. Every year it seems like there's a budget shortfall. How can the school district better plan for the future so that this isn't an annual issue?
Sure. Yeah, I think the difference between education allocation dollars that are made by the Alaska legislature and just about every other department is that to increase education funding at the state level, you have to change the formula that's in Alaska law. We've reviewed data as a board that indicates that the Department of Corrections budget, since the last time educational funding was increased in 2017, has gone up roughly 40%. The Department of Public Safety budget as a department has increased about 70%. Education aid through the state directly to districts has dropped actually just a couple of percentage points. When there's that extra step that requires bipartisan collaboration through the legislature, that makes it hard for school districts to depend on regular increases to adjust for inflation. And so while other state departments have had those dollars, education frankly hasn't. And so I think the solution really is to look at adjusting the state formula to account for inflation. That would allow our state legislature to focus on the long-term fiscal plan I think our state desperately needs. And so those are the conversations I'm having with our Anchorage delegation. It's just a common sense approach to supporting all students, and I'm hopeful that we get there this session or next.
And I'll give you the final thought. Anything you would like to mention or add that I didn't ask?
Sure, no, I appreciate it. Again, local government matters. School board races aren't garnering the headlines like our mayor's races, and certainly our mayor's race is important, but I would encourage your listeners and readers to connect with candidates, attend events, attend forums, educate yourself on policies. I think in my race, the choice is clear. You want responsible and accountable leadership at the school board level. And so please do vote all the way down the ballot. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. My website is carlforanchorage.com. That's CARL, the number 4, Anchorage.com. My cell number is 907-632-7285. You're welcome to call with any questions, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your viewers today.
And that was Anchorage School Board candidate Carl Jacobs running for Seat G. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now the challenger for Seat G, Chelsea Pohland.
I'm Ariana Imbiro with Alaska's News Source. We are talking to the candidates running for the Anchorage School Board, and here with me is Chelsea Pohland running for Seat G. Chelsea, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, before we get started into the questions, just give us a quick little introduction about yourself.
My name is Chelsea Pohland. I am a lifelong Alaskan resident. I am a product of the Anchorage School Districts. I have 3 children who are currently attending in the Anchorage School District at our neighborhood school. I run a small business, and I'm just an advocate for the community.
Well, thank you for being here. Like I said, we have some questions that we've been asking all the school board candidates. First one is, why are you running for the school board?
Good question. I decided to step up and run for the school board because I have some concerns for the future for our children, our community, the teachers. As I had mentioned, do have 3 children who are attending in the district, and I'm in the schools firsthand to see some of the problems and barriers that I think that we can make a little bit better for everybody.
What would you want to change about the school board and the direction of the Anchorage School District?
My aim is to bring some accountability and some transparency from this board and to the community. I want to be an advocate for the students and for the teachers as a parent who's firsthand witnessing and on the ground.
You know, in many places across the country, books are being banned from libraries. Do you think books should be banned from school libraries? And how do you balance that with the right for diversity and equality?
Right. That is a pretty loaded question, and there's been a lot of controversial over that. In regards to a particular book where I think this is somewhat stemmed from, I do believe there is a place for certain photos and graphic things, although I am also a believer in the choice to read and learn the books that you would like to do. So it's a pretty loaded question, and we can get into detail of that later.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Yeah, in light of the rapid growth of homeschooling in the state, as well as the governor's push to, increase the number of charter schools statewide, what new benefits and challenges do public schools face, you think?
Well, I do think that we are facing some challenges in the school district currently with budget, and I do think the stats and accountability have not been proving to the parents, so I do see why there's an increase for going to the charter direction. If you look at our current stats just in Anchorage, I believe there's a charter school in Eagle River that they're doing very well, and so I think that there is room for us to look at options and to work together. I also do believe in the importance of creating our public schools for every child to succeed. So I think there is room to combine and perhaps always work to be better.
Politics in general has become increasingly polarized. How would you deal with that at the school board level?
Well, the school board is a nonpartisan position. I do believe in that, and I believe that we need to work together as a whole to find common ground and solutions and actually get to real results that work for everyone, because how things have been going now, we're failing, and we're failing most our teachers, our students, and the community by not coming to common grounds and agreeing and finding just common grounds.
And our last question, Chelsea. The school board passed a $680 million operational budget that, of course, is dependent on the governor signing, Senate Bill 140. Every year, it seems like there is a budget shortfall. How can the school district better plan for the future so that this isn't an annual issue?
And another good question. Well, I think that all starts again with the transparency. And currently, there's a lot of questions regarding that and where finances and stuff are being spent. So again, coming together and getting myself onto this board where we have access to dive a little deeper into that. I think the Anchorage School District currently operates at a fairly large budget, and I think we operate at a budget of bigger than our Anchorage Assembly. So while there is room for improvement, I do think that with our means, we can just put them to better use, perhaps with some more accountability and allocation.
And lastly, to wrap up, we've been given this opportunity to all the candidates. I'll let you have a final thought, anything that you would like to mention or add that I didn't ask.
Well, I just thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity. This is all a new experience for me. I just felt it was important to step up. My aim is to serve the community better, to continue working and advocating for students and teachers. And I am a parent, just like many of the people in this community who are concerned for the future and just would like to see some new growth and change and bring back some honesty and integrity to the district and the community.
And that was Chelsea Pohland, everyone, running for Seat G with the Anchorage School Board. Chelsea, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
The municipal election is on April 2nd. It is a vote-by-mail, vote-from-home election. Ballots will be mailed on or before March 12th. I'm Tracy Sinclair. Thank you for listening to this edition of In Depth Alaska. Please like and subscribe to this podcast.